Hey everybody, welcome back to Semi Stories. Today we got a couple of great stories from r/Am I the A-hole. Starting with OP, who has to tell his sister that her husband is right and her baby name is kinda dumb. I, 24 female, have a twin sister Maisie. Maisie is pregnant with her first and due in February, and the baby is going to be a boy. Last week she opened up to me that she said that she and her husband have been fighting over baby names and that she is sick of hearing about it and just wants to settle on a name that they both like. Maisie and her husband are both a bit geeky, not that there's anything wrong with that, and she told me she wants to name the baby Luffy, as in the character from One Piece, Monkey D. Luffy. Her husband doesn't want this name and says the kid will be bullied. She asked for my honest opinion, and I told her the name is silly and her husband is right. I tried to say this gently, but really, how gently can you tell someone their idea is stupid? I suggested that she goes back to the drawing board on that one and maybe look at the names of lesser known anime characters if that's what she really wants. Maisie got upset and said the name is cute and we're both just being close-minded. I told her she asked for my honest opinion and she got it. She kept trying to convince me that it was a good name and that the conversation was becoming hysterical, and I told her it's a stupid name, end of discussion. She started crying and left, and since then she's been giving me the cold shoulder. Our parents told me to just tell Maisie that I'm sorry because my words really upset her and I should have been nicer about it. Am I the a-hole? No, OP is definitely not the a-hole, and her sister wanted an opinion and she got it. Now, I love One Piece and I think that naming your child after a character can in some cases be alright if it doesn't stray, well, too far from a normal name, like Frankie, Robin, or even Nami would work. But naming him something as goofy as Luffy is indeed just going to get him bullied. You might as well just name him Chopper. Aside from just knowing, look at what happened with the name Daenerys or Khaleesi from the Game of Thrones series when that was all the hype. They're now associated with an all-destroying evil dragon woman. Listen, I'm just saying, just keep Luffy as like a cute nickname for the kid, or maybe even a middle name. Or maybe even get him a dog and name that one Luffy, but PSA for everyone, please don't name your kid Naruto Johnson or something. It'll ruin them for life. In our next story, OP wonders if he is the a-hole by placing a lock on his daughter's door to protect her from her cousins. My brother Sammy lost his home shortly after his divorce 10 months ago. He moved in with us and brought his twin daughters, Olivia and Sloane, both 18, with him a couple of months ago. His sister, which is my wife, and I have one daughter, Zoe, who is 16, and she and her cousins aren't close but get along fine. Olivia and Sloane have no respect for Zoe's privacy, none. They used to walk into her room and take everything they could get their hands on, makeup, phone accessories, clothes, school laptops, etc. Zoe complained a lot and I've already asked the girls to respect Zoe's privacy and stop taking things. My wife and Sammy saw no issue with this. After all, they're girls and this is typical teenage girl behavior. I completely disagreed. The last straw was when Zoe bought a $60 MAC makeup kit that looks like a paint set that she saved up for over a month, and one of the girls, Sloane, took it without permission and ruined it by mixing shades together while using it. Now, I don't know much about makeup, but that's what Zoe said when she found the kit on her bed and was crying. I told the wife and she said she'd ask Sloane to apologize, but I decided to get Zoe a lock after I found out she was moving valuable belongings out of the house because of this incident. Sammy and his daughters eventually saw the lock and weren't happy. The girls were extremely upset. Sammy asked about it and I straight up told him. He said, "My daughters aren't thieves. It's normal that girls of the same age borrow each other's stuff." He said Zoe could easily get another makeup kit for $15 at Walmart and shouldn't even be buying expensive adult makeup in the first place, and he suggested that my wife take care of this defect in Zoe's personality trying to appear older than she is. He accused me of being overprotective and babying Zoe with this level of enablement. I told him this is between me and my wife, but she shamed me for putting a lock on Zoe's door for her cousins to see and preventing them from spending time with her, saying I was supposed to treat them like daughters. She then demanded I remove it, but I said this lock does not get removed till her brothers and his daughters are out of the house. She got mad I was implying we kicked them out and said her family will hate me for this. So I reminded her that I let Sammy and his family move in, which is something her own family refused to do. So she should start shaming and blaming them for not taking their own son and nieces/granddaughters in. If it wasn't for her family's unwillingness to help, we wouldn't be dealing with this much disturbance at home. Everyone's been giving me and Zoe silent treatment, and my wife is very much upset over this. Let's start by saying there is no universe where OP is the a-hole for sticking up for Zoe. I think that besides OP and his daughter, everyone else is the a-hole. I would say that the two daughters deserve some slack because they probably grew up borrowing and using each other's stuff, but they also should have been accepting of Zoe not wanting to share everything, especially not without asking. I think the problem lies solely with the father, Sammy, not raising them to respect others. To have the audacity to tell the person who took you and your daughters in, when no one else would, mind you, that his daughter has a defect is actual rat behavior. If it were me, I'd have forced them out a long time ago. The wife also not helping the situation is completely cruel, and I feel she cares so much for her brother, she's completely forgetting her own flesh and blood. I think the top comment sums it up the best. Don't back down, you are the only one sticking up for Zoe. If her cousins want to use expensive makeup, give them your wife's makeup. I guarantee she won't appreciate sharing anymore. They need to start behaving like appreciative guests. In this next story, Opie is wondering if she is the a-hole for telling her brother-in-law's wife not to wear the same color as her on her own wedding day. My fiancé, 24 male, and I, 24 female, are getting married in a few months. Recently, my fiancé came to town to finalize his outfits for the wedding, and his brother and brother's wife, we'll call her C, came along with him. I attended brother-in-law and C's wedding years prior, but never really talked to C properly. I had tried to, but she never reciprocated any conversation and would usually refrain to ignoring me. Yet I still kept my feelings towards her amicable. Returning to the situation, we all reached the store and everything was going smoothly at first. Me, my fiancé, and brother-in-law were all actively discussing different looks that suited my fiancé, while C was busy talking on the phone the entire time. My brother-in-law told me she was looking at different dresses to wear at the function, and in an attempt to make conversation, I asked her what her choices were. She ignored me and would only show her husband, my brother-in-law. I brushed it off, because I wasn't about to call her out when it didn't really bother me that much. I was used to her ignoring me. When my fiancé's outfits were decided, we moved to the ladies section because she was ready to order her dresses. Again, I minded my business and let her do her thing. As she was discussing the dress, I overheard her say it was red. In my culture, it is pretty much known that you don't wear red on the wedding day because that's typically what the bride wears. Same thing as not wearing white to a wedding. I looked over to my fiancé and he was just as confused as I was. He told his brother that I was wearing red that day, with him telling C as well. I thought maybe she understood and walked away expecting to choose a different color, only for her to choose red again. At that point, I was just shocked at what's going on. I've never held any ill will towards her, so I wasn't sure where all this hostility was coming from. Before I could speak up, my fiancé stepped in again to remind her that my dress is red. You could cut the tension in the air, but she finally decided on a different color, and we finally left. After shopping, I had planned for us to have dinner before they left as a treat for them coming this far. Unfortunately, even though I tried to keep dinner easygoing, it was just very awkward. C did not eat anything at all and was absent half the time talking on her phone. After dinner, my fiancé and brother-in-law said their goodbyes to me. C did not say anything, walked to their car and just sat inside. My brother-in-law gave me an apologetic expression and my fiancé told me to just ignore her. I went home very upset. I wasn't aware me simply requesting to change the dress color was that unacceptable. A few hours later, I messaged my fiancé asking if they reached there safely, and he told me that upon reaching, C flipped out and broke the TV, saying, "How could I tell her what color she can't wear? I just wanted my wedding to go smoothly, but now I'm not sure what to expect." And no, I did not wear the same color as her during her wedding, so it couldn't possibly be some personal vendetta. It's OP's wedding and C should not be such a little drama queen about a known custom during weddings. It reminds me a bit of Kelly from The Office, who would also wear white to the wedding because she just needs to be the center of attention. The vindictive and violent outbursts of breaking the TV are a clear sign of her trying to stay the main character of the family. Sad to say, OP will certainly have to expect some sort of outbursts at the wedding. And when the story gets told, she'll make herself the victim. So no, OP is definitely not the a-hole in this scenario. I'm curious what you guys think. Be sure to let me know down in the comments. I love reading your takes. If you liked the video so far, be sure to like and subscribe. In his next story, OP wonders if he is the a-hole for not giving more child support when he falls into some money. I got divorced 5 years ago and I lost a lot. My ex got the apartment and our car. I was okay with it because she had our children and I wanted everything to be as stable as possible for them. I ended up moving in with my grandmother to make ends meet. My ex and I were doing a decent job of being co-parents, I think. I spent a lot of time with my kids and I've never missed a child support payment. My grandmother became ill during COVID and I was basically her caregiver. She made it through, but it knocked her on her butt. She passed away about 2 months ago. I'm an only child, but my parents are both very irresponsible, which is why they couldn't help me out when I needed somewhere to live. My grandmother made me her main beneficiary when she passed. All that she said was to take care of my kids. I sold her house after I gave everyone their bequest. I took the money and the rest of the estate and bought myself a house and a car. Her house was old and not in a great neighborhood for kids. I also put money into my children's education fund. When my ex found out what I did, she got really upset. She said that I owed her more child support now. I checked with my lawyer before I did anything, and money from an inheritance, the sale of a house, or the lottery win does not count as income. She thinks I intentionally screwed her over. I think I now have a good reliable car for work and a nice small house in a good neighborhood for when I have the kids with me. We are fighting about it, but I don't think I'm in the wrong. Again, in this story, I think OP is not the a-hole. The inheritance doesn't sound that huge, and because OP has been living on a tight budget for a while, I think he deserves some good luck. OP sounds like he's being responsible with the money, and with his kids in mind, I think that's worth more than to play child support. Now let me say I don't know anything about the arrangement they made for visitation, but I do think men often get completely ruined in a divorce, as shown with OP in this case. The ex is just sour that she doesn't get to benefit even more from his life. The system is messed up and I'm glad that OP is beating it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like and subscribe and I will see you guys next time. See ya!